Peace, divine power, and prosperity to my beautiful family. This is ordained metaphysical minister Corbin reporting live. I want to thank you for tuning in. It's always a pleasure for y'all to rock with the greatest, if not the greatest university on this planet, which is Cosmic Christ University. Here in this university, you have masters and you have students that can come together in one building and learn the esoteric. If you got a pen, here we go. ESOTERIC. That is the hidden knowledge to who you were. If you are a preacher, a bishop, a reverend, a pastor who are watching this, first of all, I want to say thank you to you for even clicking. You know about the words esoteric, ESOTERIC, and exoteric, EXOTERIC. The latter one is knowledge that is meant for the masses, while the former one is meant for the chosen few. Throughout my videos, I just did a 3-part series on Lilith. I am here as a Cosmic Christ University, the son of the Divine Mother, to let my spiritual family, my brothers and sisters, you, know that you weren't the only one and you weren't by yourself when you were younger and you had dreams of being from a different planet. How many of you out there had dreams that you were from a different planet? How many of you guys used to have a dream that you were on a school bus or something and you were being taken from one planet and being brought to Earth? How many of you used to have beings visit your bedside, or you try to scream and you couldn't scream, or it felt like something was holding you down, and they call it REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement? See, family, you're not by yourself. There's my family. Some of you are right now that's going through stress, going through depression, going through anxiety. You feel like there is nothing left for you in this world. But I'm here to tell you that's cap. Stick around a lot longer. Because if you call yourself a spiritual seed, if you call yourself a star seed, an indigo child, then I am here for you. I am a cosmic Christ consciousness being, and so are you. That return of Christ that they said is here already. It is not a person. It is a light that has always been within you, and we're at the time in the age of Aquarius in this beautiful quantum world where your mind determines all. We are in the presence of the divine feminine energy. We're at a time where technology will push us forward to truly knowing who we are throughout the cosmos. And this is a very powerful presentation with a very powerful message. There's a lot of people in church that say they love Jesus the Christ. They say Jesus died for my sins. Most definitely. But to those church people who do say this, I'm going to read something this evening that is going to be just like what Jesus said. And I want you to hold on to what you said before I read what I said, because you said Jesus died for your sin. And I'm going to read exactly what type of things that Christ was saying back at his time. Now, I know some of you saying his name. Yes, listen, we know his mama named him Yeshua. But there's a lot of people who only know this man by Jesus. And it is my job as a cosmic Christ being, as an ordained metaphysical minister. Now remember, meta means higher or beyond. Physics is the study of life. So we go higher to give you the study of what life means to you in the spiritual aspect. Because Christ, the one you call Jesus, mama named him Yeshua, that's exactly what Jesus was trying to do 2,000 years ago. And the same people that you go to church, the same people that you guys open the doors and sit down in the churches, these are the same people that killed that man you called Jesus the Christ and gave you information that was contradictory to the man you called Jesus the Christ. And I want you to know this today before I read this, because there are a lot of people who said that Jesus died for their sins. I'm going to read what I'm going to read today, and you're going to have to ask yourself by the time I'm done with this presentation. Would you rock with Jesus? Yeshua is his name. If he was saying this at a time where you're focusing on paying bills, where you got stress going on in your family, your kids locked up, your daughter's pregnant, and this man comes from traveling all over the world, somebody you went to school with, and he's telling you that, hey, guess what? You ain't even got to worry about all this stress and bills. There is something greater that is within you that if you just sit back and meditate, quiet the noise, you can access that through the power of your mind. I'm going to read the type of talk that the man you call Jesus was talking about. You see the title. It says the awakening of the soul. And that's what's going to happen here today. But my biggest question is to the church people. If you currently got bills, some of you know that the electric people are boosting the price of electric. Electric bills going crazy. You got kids that are going back and forth in jail. Your kids are having kids and you going through health issues. And then all of a sudden this man come, a person you actually grew up with, he came out of nowhere, came back and told you that, listen, if you just sit back and chill out and quiet the noise and go within yourself and meditate, listen, if you don't even worry about the stuff you're going through and let God, that inner voice within you, if you just listen and obey it, watch what happens. He's displaying his powers, but listen, the way you feeling is, listen, if unless these powers are going to help me pay these bills and get my son or get my daughter unpregnant, then you can keep all that. You're looking good. It's sounding good what you're saying, Jesus, but is that going to pay my bills right now? This is my question to my church people. Because the one you call Jesus, of course, his mom called him Yeshua. He called the ones that you guys go to church every day and you pay your money to, he called them hypocrites. Because he said that they don't even want to go into the esoteric, that means the hidden knowledge of who he was. And because they don't want to go there, they don't want to open those books, the lost gospels, they prevent the ones who do kind of have questions and have that spiritual urgency to know who they are. The churches can't help you. Pastors, you can't help them. You have done a great job with externally bringing them close as possible to the word, but you forgot to mention to the people that they were the living word. Paul said, don't be a minister to the letter. Why? Because you are the living word. You are God. It's right in your Bible. Now, I'm going to read to you some stuff that Christ was saying. It's not no quotes. It's what was known, not just by Christ, but by Krishna, by Mithra, by Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, by all these ancient elders, Melchizedek, the Elohim, the Yoruba. I can keep the Oshun, I can keep going. Lemuria, Atlantis, the Mayans, the Olmecs, the Toltecs, I can keep going. The Ramadans in Atlantis. So, my final message to you, the stressing, being depressed all the time, the anxiety, as a cosmic Christ being, somebody who is your brother. Here at this time, and there's so many more of us, and you're one too. This is my message to you. This is why I'm giving you this gem. That was a test that you passed. You are still here now. Let me ask you a question before I go in. If I raise the hands or by the like button, I can still see you. You guys, any of you out there ever had a dream that you were in the astral world, and in the astral world you were in a class and I say we because me too, we were being taught by an elder? See, one of my places I go to, it's my second home, is called ARE in Virginia Beach. If you're ever in Virginia Beach, please visit ARE. It's Edgar Cayce Arts and Research and Enlightenment Center in Virginia Beach. This is my second home. Edgar Cayce, a lot of you know Edgar Cayce. If you know Edgar Cayce, hit the like button. If you love Edgar Cayce, scroll through the couple videos on here that I have and whatnot. I have a video when I was celebrating my 5 years of being sober, and I made the announcement at the Edgar Cayce Arts and Research Enlightenment Center. I bring up Edgar Cayce because for those who have a love for his knowledge and for the love of his teachings, it is known that we were students of Edgar Cayce when he was in Egypt. He went by a totally different name than Edgar Cayce. Reincarnation is what we're talking about here. So whether you are reincarnated from Greece, Egypt, whether you're reincarnated from Lemuria, whether you're reincarnated from Marduk, whether you're created from Tyrantor, these are planets that we all came from. The Superman story is our story. Leave the depression alone. We used to be students, but now we are teachers. Okay, 10 minutes, right? Let's mark this. Golly, let's mark this. 10 minutes, guys. All right, give me 11 minutes, and I'm going to go in. Give me 11 minutes, I'm going to go in. Mark this at 11 minutes. This is for you guys. This is for all of us. 11 minutes. Let's go. You ready? 11 minutes. The Awakening of the Soul. Cosmic Christ University. Family, thank you so much for entering the Cosmic Christ University. I am ordained metaphysical minister. Obviously, you see the title. Let's get ready to go. As long as man in his pilgrimage through matter identifies himself entirely with his bodies and follow entirely their dictates, in utter oblivion of his own true divine nature, he does not suffer, but is contented in an animal way. Ladies and gentlemen, at the 11-minute mark, you are now about to hear the true story on who you is. The title of this is called The Awakening of the Soul. You're about to get the true story on who you are, what happened to you, and how you can escape. If you like this video, let me see them like buttons. If you like this video, share it. If you like to come on into the Cosmic Christ University, I'm not here to play. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Awakening of the Soul. Here's what happened to you. As long as man in his pilgrimage through matter, identifies himself entirely with his body, that means his flesh, and follows entirely their dictates in utter oblivion of his own true divine nature, he does not suffer, but is contented in an animal way. Let's stop there, please. I got time today, and those who are subscribed to the channel, they got time today. If you are driving, focus on the road, but thank you for being intuitive to the word. I have not come here to play. This is at 12 minutes. You are hearing the truth on who you are. It is saying, as long as you are stuck and comfortable with being in this flesh, you're lustful. You don't question nothing. You go ahead and have that nice family, and listen, there's nothing wrong with it. You go to church and you submit to that God. Yes, you will not suffer. But the moment you question this life, the moment you say, hey, hold on, I think there's something more to me, which there is, then that's when suffering starts. I'm going to read this again, guys. For those who are watching at 13 minutes and you've been locked in since I first started this video, holy Snapple juice. Click the like button. Tell a friend to tune in. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcement is Minister, ordained metaphysical minister Corbin is telling you your origins about who you are, how you came into this life, and while you are in this flesh, what happens to you. Thank you for tuning in. As long as man in his pilgrimage through matter identifies himself entirely with his bodies and follows entirely the dictates in utter oblivion of his true divine nature, he does not suffer. In other words, as long as you, once again, are just following this material world, stuck in it, bills, stress, depression, bills. Hey, I'm coming over the hoop. Thank you, God. Bills. Follow the laws, morals. You good. You covered. You are under the divine light of the creator of this world. But the moment, listen carefully, because I'm going to read it again. For you going through depression, for you going through stress, I'm giving you the reason why you are going through this. Like, seriously. If you watch my Lilith series, this is bringing the light to the darkness. Because we're talking about unity, not duality now. For you who are going through stress, for you who are depressed, for you who have anxiety, something's not feeling right about this world. There is more about you and you can't get it in this world. Here's why. If you watch Lilith, you know why. But of course, my job as a minister is to give you more and more and more until you know who you are. I'm a cosmic Christ being, so are you. For you that are going through that, it is because you are not from this world. You do not abide by the laws of this world. You can't. Some of you might be giving me the what? Listen, this is why I say, church people, you must have the esoteric knowledge and you just can't go off of the canonical gospels. Christ said what in your Bible? He said, I am in this world, but I am not from this world. Follow me now. Listen, he also said that the prince of this world was dark. He said that, he told you, but what did he say? Romans 12:2. Do not conform to this world, but be renewed by the transforming of your mind. If this world was meant for you, Christ would have had you locked in. Remember, after he died on the cross, he was in the astral body. He came back in the astral form. Is this new for some of y'all? Then you need to be locked into the Cosmic Christ University. Because I can do this without no shade to my theologians, because I love y'all. I grew up with Shirley Caesar, the Williams brothers, Lee Williams. Sweep around your own, the Williams brothers, sweep around. That's a different Williams set, I know that, but still, I grew up off the church. Yolanda Adams, what up? Kirk, what up? Lance, Brother Rance Allen, I think I got a name right. He's a miracle worker. So this is no shade to none of y'all. But I am a metaphysical minister. My job is to let you know what Christ was trying to tell you 2,000 years ago. So let's bring it back. And I'm going to keep on reading. Now, thank you. If I got to do a part one, this is obviously part one. If I got to do a part two to my part one, then I got to. As long as y'all are with me and y'all are giving me participation, then we're going to keep on getting these videos. This is your knowledge. I got a lot of people out there stressing, going through it. This world is giving you a game because this world is a simulation. It's a holograph. They got books that tell you this world is a holographic universe, but you're still stressing. Why? I can give you Bible verses after Bible verses of what Christ said, but guess what he also said? Why call me Lord and not do what I ask? You got the right one, guys. I'm not here to play. Let's read that again. 18 minutes going in. As long as man in his pilgrimage through matter identifies himself entirely with his bodies and follows entirely their dictates in utter oblivion of his own true divine nature. Yes, you have a true divine nature within you. Let's keep on going. He does not suffer, but is contented in the animal way. You in the zoo being watched by the zookeeper. Let's keep on going. It is only when the soul in her earthly prison, what did you just say, minister? Bring that one back. No problem. It is only when the soul in her earthly prison begins to recall the divine home from which she lives exiled. How many of y'all watched my Lilith presentation? That's why I can bring this back, and I can bring this back and move it forward to the ones who want the knowledge. By raising hands, how many of y'all watched? Even if you just watched part one, I gave y'all 3 series of who Lilith was. My melanated people. I got time today. And this ain't about race, but like I said, when I was just a young lad beginning my spiritual journey, as a melanated person who's seen so many, whether it was the Rodney Kings, whether it was the Trayvon Martins, whether it was the Sean Bells, whether it was the Chandra Blands, I've seen so many of the color of my people getting physically abused and killed. Many of them wasn't justified. Since I was a kid, and it seemed to be swept under the rug, I would go to school and have Caucasian friends, have white friends. They could come over, play the PlayStation, Big Mama cook them food, but then go over there. I couldn't. I was stopped at the door. Sorry, my grandparents don't allow black people. So my spiritual journey was all about, well, how far does this racism thing goes? I always wanted to know. So you'll never see any racial intent in any of my videos. But you'll see an answer, a galactic answer. And racism has been around. You have to go back to Atlantis. Like I told you, the Ramadans. Rhomadals. Type in Atlantis, the Ramadans. They were like melanated slaves back in Atlantis. And if you want to talk more about that, some might know more than I do about that. But if you want to talk about it, leave a comment. Well, let's keep on going. It says, it is only when the soul in her. Now remember, Holy Spirit, I got videos on this. Holy Ghost has always been represented as a divine feminine. Shakti, Shekinah, these are all feminine names of the divine spirit. And it don't matter what religion. Islam, you go to Sufi. For Christianity, you go to Gnosticism. So, and if you want to go further back to Judea in the book, you go to the Kabbalah. So, in the Torah, in the Zohar. But the soul has always been known as a feminine aspect. They knew that as the Bible. That's why wisdom was in the Bible known as a feminine aspect. The Queen of Heaven wasn't talking about Mary, but a higher aspect of Mary, which is known as Sophia the Wisdom. And even when you start to know about Mama, and like I told you many years, if you watch my video, I am the son of the Divine Mother. Even when you get to Mama and the Sophia Wisdom, Pistis Sophia, and the Dragon Tribe, which I'm very, very proud to be a part of, bloodline-wise, then you have to go back to our ancient mamas like Barbello and Lilith, and the Liliths, and here we go. And then here we go. So let's keep on reading. It is only when the soul, because remember, the soul, your soul is a feminine aspect. Bring that divine masculine with a divine feminine and see the power that comes with it. It is only when the soul in her earthly prison begins to recall the divine home from which she lives exiled, when through love, beauty, or true consciousness of her own true nature awakens, that suffering begins. You don't suffer until you say, hold up now. I don't think I'm from this planet. Like, I know I'm surviving, but if you're watching this at 22 minutes and you're understanding everything the minister is saying, if you resonate, then hit the like button. Make sure you tell us somebody, because I'm giving you something that is ancient knowledge. Some of you go through this life and you're depressed and you're stressed. I hope this presentation just give you a reason to go outside and rejoice, because it is time to rejoice. And if I forgot to, I'll read this whole thing in its entirety, but I like to break it down so you can understand that stress for what? You guys, you are it. This is your time. Christ was trying to tell them 2,000 years ago about what was going down now, 2,000 years later. Remember, if you were dealing with astrology, the disciples asked Christ, how do we know when you come back? And he told them what? And I'm paraphrasing. Man, check out, look for the man with the water pitcher. He's going to have the water pitcher tipped over. That was astrology. Christ was spitting astrology bars to you, astrological bars. He was telling you about the constellation Aquarius. He was going to come back 2,000 years later, but he wasn't going to be no man coming down here. Oh, no. Research Rudolf Steiner and the power of the blood. When Christ comes back, excuse me, that was past tense. When Christ is here now, he's going to come through in what they call a Pentecost in church. A light that has already been within you is going to be happening through a cosmic. Now, a cosmic light is going to be descending just like how plants receive light and they can communicate with each other. Oh, I'm going to some stuff now. Shout out to my teacher. Shout out to my teacher, Bill Donahue. Oh, the spirit is in this video. Now listen, just like when you're dealing with plants and plants can receive light and plants can receive energy from other plants. Now, what they call the Pentecost, there is a cosmic light that has descended. This is what Christ was talking about 2,000 years ago to a people who consciousness could not understand. So when you say you got anxiety and stress and depression, I'm saying, pass that to me. If you say you got, throw it my way. Anxiety, here, give it, and you say you got anxiety, caught it. We just showing it away. You got depression? Go ahead, throw it this way. Seriously. Got it. Shred that in the shredder. What else? Stress. What you say you got a COLD? SICK. No more. Why? Listen. You are winning. We are in a crisis here. Church people, you should be crying right now and rejoicing. I'm not saying that Jesus wasn't real. I'm saying that, first of all, there was no J. The letter J didn't even exist. Jesus also means Hell Zeus. So the original name for Jesus was a frequency, 888. So what the Greeks did would take the name Jesus so it could match the 888 frequency. This is a true story. It's a true story. So what you have to understand, yes, his name was Yeshua. And yes, at the end of the day, that is a light that is within us. So understand that you are greater. You are leveling up, but keep your faith, meditate, quiet the noise. None of this outside stuff matters. This is what we're listen. I'm going to read the whole thing again, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be like Tina Turner on Proud Mary. I'm going to start off slow, but I'm going to pick it up. As long as man in his pilgrimage, in his travels, as long as man is in his pilgrimage through matter identifies himself entirely with his bodies and follows entirely their dictates, in utter oblivion of his own true divine nature, he does not suffer, but is contented in an animal way. It is only when the soul in her earthly prison begins to recall the divine home from which she lives exiled, when through love, beauty, or truth, consciousness of her own true nature awakens, that suffering begins. We are like Prometheus. How many of y'all know about mythology? If you never heard about Prometheus, this is your mythology story. Just like the prodigal son in the Bible, this is your true story. Just like Anakin, which is based off of Joseph Campbell's the heroes, the Thousand Faces of the Heroes, the hero's journey. Prometheus. How many of you have heard of Prometheus? If not, Promethe. I'm chopping and screwing this. Let's do that again. Prometheus. Prometheus. If you haven't heard of Prometheus, you definitely need to do some research after or in the midst of this video. If you have, then I'm going to read this again for you guys. We are like Prometheus, chained to the rock of matter. Matter means earth. Matter means this physical world. Matter means earth. Matter means this physical world. You are a soul. Your divine feminine is waiting for you to awaken in this time of... Let's go, minister. Let's go. We are like Prometheus, chained to the rock of matter. But it is not until we become conscious of what we truly are that we are at all aware of being prisoners, of being exiled. Thus might one live who in the days of his youth had been banished from his native land, and who for many years had been among strangers, hardly remembering in the privations and miseries of his exile that once he knew different surroundings. But someday perhaps he hears a song which he knew in his youth, and in sudden agony remembers all he has lost, realizing in pain that he is in exile, far from all that was dear to him. Now, I'm going to stop this because I get really emotional. Gosh. Holy snap. I get really emotional about this. Oh, man. I want you guys to look up the Hymn of the Pearl. And if you're a theologian, you know about the Hymn of the Pearl. That's my story. Christ's brother, his twin, Thomas in the Bible meant twin. So Judas Thomas, you might heard these type of names as well, but look up the Hymn of the Pearl. The reason why this gets me really emotional, because it's truthful. We are in this world. This is why I call you guys, and of course I call myself, a multi-dimensional being. We're not humans. We're multi-dimensional beings. We are spiritual beings who have been trapped, bound by this creator God in a time, space, matter world. Holograph. If you listen closely to what was said, your soul that lives whatever, that light within you, is in a prison because you are in this flesh, which is a shell. The only way you can truly escape this, it's not just about you dying, it's about you dying while living. And what I mean by that is the moment you realize that you are trapped in this physical world and that you are more powerful than the creator of the spiritual world. See, that right there goes back to the Gnostics and the Nag Hammadi scriptures. These are the so-called lost gospels. That's what our Christians from the early days knew, and they were killed, and they were burned alive, and they were tortured by the ones you call the Catholics, the one who have the power in the Vatican. They killed our ancestors and took or tried to take their energy, and didn't think that we were going to come back all these years later and raise Cain. But someday perhaps he hears a song. In the Hymn of the Pearl, it was a letter. In the Hymn of the Pearl, it talks about Thomas going to Egypt and being entrapped. He was sent there by the Divine Mother and the Divine Father to retrieve the pearl from the dragon, I do believe. This is almost like Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z has our truth, but that's another story. Thomas was sent to Egypt. Now remember, Egypt, even in the Bible, represents the lower world, the lower realm. Egypt, this world. And as he went down there, I'm talking about Judas now. Judas Thomas, not to be confused with Judas, who supposedly portrayed God in the Bible. Or portrayed Christ in the Bible. But Judas went down there into Egypt, and when he went down there, he fell into the trap, into bondage. He got lost in the world, started having the drinks and partying with the Egyptians, and got lost in the world. And then it was a spiritual letter that reminded him who he was, and then he got the pearl, and then the rest is history. But that's your story. So for the ones who are depressed, you're going through it right now, man. That's it. And no, I'm not going to simplify it. It's more complex than that, but that's the juice of it, and that's the meat of it. It's not for you to go out here and say, oh, my world's over. No, because it's about bringing, now that we're in this world, it's about bringing this world into its knees and lifting us up. And once you do that, remember, it said in the beginning, as long as a man in his pilgrimage through matter identifies himself entirely with the bodies, this also talks about the zodiacs. That's why you can go to somebody and say, what you, a Capricorn? What you, a Sagittarius? Okay, you this, and this. They're like, what? How do you know that? Because once you go back into the Nag Hammadi, these are lost gospels, and you read about the demiurge and the watchers, or the archons, the archons, and this is in the lost gospels. You see that they are also known as the zodiacs, the 12 zodiacs, or the archons that govern this world with that demiurge creator. So I don't care if you're in church and this may sound cringe to you, it's the truth. I got too many videos on this channel and my other channel, the Darius Corbin channel, that give you proof after proof after proof of this. If you don't want to accept it, that's up to you. My teacher, Dr. Deborah Blair, said there is no truth until you decide what truth is. But the ones who watch my channel, majority of you, you know this truth, and then I give you receipts as well. So the Nag Hammadi, you heard me say this before, Naghammadi, but Google's your best friend. Discovered in 1947, wasn't translated in English until 1977. So imagine all those who were in church around the 70s who unfortunately couldn't get the rediscovering knowledge about who Christ and what the Bible really meant to us and who he really was. They didn't get that. So I'm going to keep on reading, and I thank you for your patience. But let's start with this one again. We are like Prometheus, chained to the rock of matter. But it is not until we become conscious of what we truly are that we are all aware of being prisoners. All of us don't understand that we are locked in this prison by this demiurge that you call God or Jehovah. Remember, for I am a jealous God. There were many gods before him, older than that God. His mother is named Sophia the Wisdom. He was being cocky, thinking that he was the only God. So when he created his creation, she tricked him and blew the divine spark into his creation. Guess who his creation was? Us. But Mama blew the divine spark in us. That divine spark is soul, spirit. So that makes us, by law, more powerful than the demiurge. Now, don't get it twisted. He is still our brother. Evil has its own mission on earth. And if you are in a church and if all you have been taught in church is that evil is bad, then you can never understand the esoteric part. Because even Origin, Origin, Oeigen, but Google's your best friend. He's one of the Christian OGs. He's a Christian OG, and he said at the end, even Satan would be redeemed. Why could how he's an OG like Clement of Alexandria and Origin? These are the OGs who knew what your everyday regular theologian would dare not to tell you about yourself. That explains why Christ said, resist not evil. That explains why God said, I created both. It's not about duality no more. We are leaving that world I'm already gone. But as you leaving the third dimension, a lot of you, 4th, 5th, and you're entering the 6th and 7th, we are leaving the world of duality and we're returning back into the world, to the dimension, to the cosmos of unity. This is a beautiful thing. Let's keep reading. We are like Prometheus, chained to the rock of matter. But listen, but it is not until we become conscious of what we truly are that we are at all aware of being prisoners, of being exiled. Let's keep on reading. Thus might one live who, we read that already. I want to keep on going. And we talked about one day, that person, that man, that woman may hear that one song which they knew in their youth, and all of a sudden that song, that agony is remembered that all has been lost, realizing in pain that he or she in exile, far from all that was dear to him or her. In that memory, the yearning for his or her native land is born again and becomes stronger than ever was. It's only then that suffering and struggle begins. Suffering because of the knowledge of what he or she has lost. Struggle in the attempt to regain that which one has possessed. Let me read that again for you going through the struggle, you going through depression, anxiety. You're going through this because you knew that you were greater. You got people that, and this is no disrespect, but I got to call it what it is. You got people who go through church, they got family, man and woman, they got children, they live in a God life, and that is okay. They are bound by the laws of this world, and as long as they are comfortable with that, they are good. This is what this means. So if you are a person who loves God and you fear God, that is no problem with that, if that's what you want to do. But if you're a person who, by law and principles, knows what Christ was trying to tell you, that you are not from this world, you got to read the Gnostics to understand once Christ came back in his astral body, when he told Mary, don't touch me, that was because he was still in his astral body. But look at the conversations he had with his brother and them after that. Listen, it is time now. We're in the quantum world. I'm giving you this information, and I'm also giving you a time to deal with this information, because some of you, this is not a shock. This is confirmation. I'm going to keep on reading. We're going to do at least an hour. You want a part 2? You let me know you want a part 2. I want to thank everybody who watches from the bottom of my heart. I'm your brother in Christ. You got people who went to church. They don't know this. They know this now. You got people in church. What is he talking about? What the hell? And you got my spiritual family who probably damn near in tears because they knew that they were more than what this world can give them. So when you're talking about Squid Games, we're talking about the End Games and the Hunger Games and all those type of movies, this is one big holographic Sims game. And when you look at people like Kanye West, Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, the radicals, the rebels, the neos of the world, They are only doing what you must do, and that's wake up. They are disturbing the matrix. They are putting a crack in the matrix. You guys and watch Total Recall. You watch movies like that, Avatar, and then, oh, it's so amazing, not knowing that this is our story. So it's, in a similar way, the awakening, let's read that again. It is only then that suffering and struggle begins. Suffering because of the knowledge of what he or she has lost. Struggle in the attempt to regain that which he possessed. How do you feel now? Especially the ones that are getting confirmation. How does it feel to you, knowing that you are a spiritual being that is in this flesh? But it is not a call for suicide. It is a call for you to know that you must balance it. And once you balance it, you must call this life your biatch. Meaning that the same things that are controlling you, the elements, the zodiacs, you must make your biatch. That's what the magician knew. That's what the magi knew. That's what alchemy is about. That's what transmutation about. There's no such thing as black and white magic because magic is magic. There is no such thing as a good or bad hammer. You can crack somebody's head, or you can put a nail in the wall to hang a picture up. But don't you dare call the hammer evil or good. It's a hammer. It's a tool. In a similar way, the awakening of the soul when it comes in the course of human evolution brings not only joy, but also suffering in its wake. As long as man lived the animal life of his bodies, he knew contentment of a sort, but with the remembrance of his true nature, with the vision of the world to which he belongs, there is born that age-long struggle in which he tries to free himself from the entanglement with the worlds of matter which he has brought about by identifying himself with his bodies. Let's stop there. We had a whole class, and if anybody's watching and have been watching since I first clicked this video, and you first clicked this video, thank you. We are the teachers who were in class as students in the astral world. I asked you earlier, how many of you guys remember being through your dreams, remember being in a class, because I do. And remember, and maybe you don't remember the teacher's face, but you just remember this light, or you remember this bright shadow that was so lightful, it looked like a shadow. And I remember sitting Indian style, and I remember seeing kids all around me. And we were being taught some heavy stuff. Now we are the teachers, guys. This is why I asked you in the beginning about your bills and stress. That's your choice to do that. But don't be going to church. I can't tell you what to do. But don't go to church and say Jesus died for my sins and Christ is, and all you're doing is putting on a show and not really going in a depth and knowing that Christ is really a Christ energy, a cosmic energy, because you are a divine light that can never be destroyed. That's why death is nothing but an exit to one door and an entrance to a greater door. The thing you call death really doesn't exist, because once you transcend, you just leave this physical world, this matter, which obviously Christ in this book is telling you is an illusion, part-time world. You leave that door and you enter into a greater door. What's wild is that we have done this so many times that every time you enter into the physical womb, leaving the universal womb, and you go into the physical and exit out the physical womb, man, then you forget your past life. How y'all doing out there? You got time today? I can't give you Lilith 3 parts and not give you this to balance it out. I can't give you Christ bars or Yeshua quotes without giving you Lilith. The reason a lot of you have been stressing and going through it is because, remember, Christ said you are not of this world. You have entertained everything that this world has given you, and because of that, you have lost, or you have been given that sense that you have lost connection to God. Now what we're experiencing, all of us in real time, is the deterioration of this physical world. Now, the illusion is fallen, and if you're going to be entrapped in the illusion, you're going to be stuck in this third dimensional world. But for those who have been looking for the light and now have received the light, you are now transcending, because Sister Mother Earth is transcending and elevating into higher dimensions. So whether it's UFOs, UAPs, whether it's Mama Yola, who is in Shambhala, or Telos, shout out to Mount Shasta. I'm talking about the inner world people, Argartha. Whether we get the truth about Antarctica, and if you guys read my channel, listen, I got so much truth on Antarctica. Let's talk. Because I'm about to do a Cosmic Christ multiverse. And we're going to really put this channel. This is going to be the greatest university you ever heard of. I promise you. If you want to talk Antarctica, I know people who went there. I got a book that tell you everything that happened in there. I gave you the story about Yola, who was the black mother who's in the inner earth, who trying to warn people about the Anunnaki and Anu. But that's on my channel. That's in the university. Let's go ahead and finish this up, guys. I love each and every one of you. Depression, throw that away. Put that in the shredder. Matter of fact, if you got a shredder at home, if you got a lighter at home, I want you to write down them words: depression, stress. Write all that down on a piece of paper, then burn it. That's gone now. And if you have seriously listened to what I said throughout this video, now you know the truth, and I got plenty more for you. As long as you guys keep on subscribing and you keep on hitting the like button and you keep on leaving comments. Thank you to the people who leave comments. This is your truth now. Yeah, you Power Rangers. You Ninja Turtles. Ladies, Powerpuff Girls. Teen Titans. The Avengers. Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, this is your story. Let's finish up. In a similar way, the awakening of the soul, when it comes in the course of human evolution, brings not only joy, but also suffering in its wake. As long as man lived the animal life of his bodies, he knew contentment of a sort. But with the remembrance of his true nature, with the vision of the world to which he belongs, there is born that age-long struggle in which he tries to free himself from the entanglement with the worlds of matter, which he has brought about by identifying himself with his bodies. Where up to this moment, he was not conscious of his bodies as a limitation, they now become to him as the burning garment of Nessus, that's Nessus, clinging to him the more he tries to free himself from their contact. Ooh, I'm going to keep reading, I'll go back to that. Clinging to him the more he tries to free himself from their contact. Self within, ever calling him back to his divine home, and a lower animal nature which is in his consciousness bound to and dominated by the bodies. This is simple, and I'm gonna end this right here. Some of you call yourself black sheep. You know that you are different from your family. I did a video, couple presentations back, when I was letting people know that your family is an entity in itself. Your family is an entity in itself. And as there is nothing wrong with your family, especially if they're all about progression, you know, I want to give a shout out to people like the brother from the Eagles, man. Jalen Hurts was researching his brother's story, man. He grew up with great parents, man. You know, a father who was a coach at home, a coach at school, a coach on and off the field, that instilled greatness and not just Jalen, but also all his kids. Shout out to LeVar Ball, fathers like that as well. So once you truly understand the esoteric, remember that's the hidden knowledge of Mary and Joseph. And ladies, I'm talking about the story of Mary and Joseph is so beautiful that you got to go into the Essenes. The Essenes was a group of people outside of Jerusalem that had the true spiritual practices of what? Listen, women like Mary, when they were like 12 years old, they were a part of this sisterhood that was really a brotherhood, but you could call it a sisterhood. These girls, John the Baptist, who was Christ's cousin, his mom and Mary's mother. This is a story that you got to really go esoterically. It's a true story, but you got to go beyond the hidden knowledge. Mary and her sister were in a sisterhood, so to speak. And since they were girls, they were groomed in the best way possible to accept the divine Christ energy within them. Joseph knew, Mary knew that when that baby come, because guess what? When she was pregnant, they had no sex. She laid on a certain side. I think it was the left side. And some of you ladies know this story, but this is the process that it took to bring that divine being, which was Yeshua, into birth. Your churches didn't tell you this. They held this from you. But Joseph and Mary being a part of a spiritual, and Joseph being a part of the Great White Brotherhood. This has nothing to do with the Ku Klux Klan. We're talking about the sitting masters. Him being that, Mary from a young age, knowing that she or somebody in that sisterhood was going to have and bear the seed that will birth the divine Christ. They were talking about this in the days of old, in the Old Testament. That's why John the Baptist is so important. And in some religion, in some esoteric sects, he's more important than Christ. But it starts at home, is what I'm saying. If you have a beautiful couple and they love each other, the man understands the woman and the woman understands the man, they're together in unity. Remember, I say unity, not duality. And they procreate. And this is where sex magic really comes in. There's nothing wrong with sex magic at all. The Adam and Eve story is really truly about sex and consciousness. But if you have a couple that is laying down, procreating, and that man has nothing but good and healthiness running through his body, and that woman has nothing but great healthy thoughts and health running through her body, and they're loving each other. Golly. The seed they create is divine. So when you're in these relationships, people, please take it from me. Know thyself. Man, know thyself. Woman, know thyself before you get into a relationship. Because when you lay down, it is so important that you lay down with a healthy mind, a healthy body, and a healthy spirit on both sides. Because when you create, and you create with the intent of creating, my God, that's what Joseph and Mary did. That's what John the Baptist parents did. I'm in here. If you like this video, you know what to do by now. This is the waking of the soul. In a similar way, the awakening of the soul, when it comes into the course of human evolution, brings not only joy, but also suffering in its wake. See, as long as man live in the animal life, as long as you just focus on, my job, my bills, my son in jail, my daughter pregnant, I can't pay my bills, and yet you still go to church and front for God. And the reason why I front for God, because God said, be still. God said, don't worry. God said, I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. So when you stress about this stuff and you complain about what's going on in your life, you are disobeying God. When you use the word like I can't use the word SICK, or say you got a COLD, or you say you are BROKE, you are cursing the God that is within you. Thus you separate yourself by free will, and you now are attracted more into this material world. And when you do that, you are separated by ignorance from God. So, of course, we are all seeing in real time the illusion of this world deteriorate. Certain people on this earth have a limited time because their time is running out, while others, they have to evolve. Like that Fox cartoon show, The Transformers, where they went from primal animals into like cyborgs. They came on right after the Power Rangers show. I'm gonna end here. Thank you for watching. In a similar way, the awakening of the soul, when it comes in the course, of human evolution, brings not only joy but also suffering in its wake. As long as man lived the animal life, of his bodies, he knew contentment of a sort. But with the remembrance of his true nature, with the vision of the world to which he belongs, there is born that age-long struggle in which he tries to free himself from the entanglement with the worlds of matter which he has brought about by identifying himself with his bodies. Where up to this moment he was not conscious of his bodies as a limitation, they now become to him as the burning garment of Nessus, clinging to him the more he tries to free himself from their contact. From now onwards, he is to know himself as two persons in one. He is to be conscious of a higher divine self, with ever calling him back to his divine home, and a lower animal nature, which in his consciousness bound to and dominated by the bodies. Now, some of you, you're reaching higher goals, you're reaching higher levels, and it's getting real. That's because the more you reach the God level, to knowing yourself as a God and as a primordial being, that's a whole other conversation, then the elements and these entities, even family, are going to pull you down because your light is shining. What are you talking about? Did you just hear what it says? I'll read it again. Clinging to him the more he tries to free himself from their contact. That's talking about the limitations of your bodies. The more you raise into the higher vibration, the lower natures of who you are, this flesh and everything connected with it, the elements of what it is, its job. Talk about the zodiacs as well. Its job is to pull you back into the lower nature. So you can just got a check for $1,000 and then all of a sudden, boom, 400 just happened to be in bills or whatnot. Now you stressing. Boom, got you. Soon as that joy come, it's something to pull that joy right under the rug. That's going to happen. You're in the flesh. But you don't have to die to escape the agony. You just have to reconnect yourself with the God within you. Once you do that, then this life, the elements bow down to you. Everything bow down to you because you know that the very essence of who you are is primordial, older than this world, and of course, older than the God that governed it. Does that make that God evil? No, it doesn't make the planet Saturn evil for being a big father and putting us through the test. It's evolution. If we choose to rise, then we're going to be primordial gods returning back to this planet in physical form. If not, then you fall. You fall and you are forever bound by that which you know. So if you love Jesus and you love God in that sense of church, then listen, let nobody tell you different. You go ahead and you keep on praising your God. But if you know that you come from a world, just like Christ did, beyond this world, then this is going to happen. You're going to struggle. You're going to go through it. You are being initiated. If you want to know your powers, then you have to struggle. Because why in the world are you trying to be in love with a material world and then trying to have a spiritual world? You can't serve two masters. What are you talking about here? So are you going to be commanded by the creator of this world? Or are you going to be like Lilith and pack your bags and say, you know what? I'm moving on. And are you ready for the storms and the test, the trials, the initiation for when it happens? Because let me tell you from experience, you better be ready. Because you're going to lose everything you love on this family, friends, everything. It disintegrates. Because what are you doing having attachment to this world and still trying to play on the spiritual side? That's where people get burned at. You can't serve two masters. If you're going to awaken to knowing who you are, follow me. I got you. If not, then stay in church, work hard, do what you got to do. As simple as that. I thank you guys for watching. Ordained Metaphysical Minister. I'm here for you. Make sure you're here for yourself. Know your power. Age of Aquarius, Quantum World. Put a smile on your face. We here now. Put a smile on your face. Starseeds, we here now. Put a smile on your face. Indigo, put a smile on your face. Atlantis, put a smile on your face. Lemuria, put a smile on your face. We're here now. Woo!